The story of the Vikings begins in the cold lands of Scandinavia, where modern-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark are located. Life there was never easy. Long winters, rocky mountains, and limited farmland made survival a daily challenge. Families depended on fishing, hunting, and small farms to survive. But as the population grew, land became scarce. Many young warriors dreamed of something greater. Across the sea lay lands filled with fertile fields, silver, gold, and thriving kingdoms. The sea became their highway. The Vikings were not simply pirates. They were expert sailors, fearless adventurers, skilled craftsmen, and ambitious merchants. Their greatest invention was the longship. These remarkable wooden ships were fast, lightweight, and flexible enough to cross both rough oceans and shallow rivers. Unlike larger ships of the time, Viking longships could land almost anywhere. This gave them an enormous advantage. By the late 8th century, Viking crews began sailing farther than anyone thought possible. Every voyage carried danger. Storms could destroy entire fleets. Unknown coastlines hid countless risks. Yet the Vikings continued pushing into the unknown. They were driven by courage, by curiosity, and by the hope of finding new opportunities. Few people realized it then, but the Viking Age was about to change the history of Europe forever.
News of the raid spread rapidly across England and beyond. Kings strengthened their coastal defenses. Monasteries built walls. Villages began watching the sea with fear. But for the Vikings, this raid was only the beginning. They had discovered that wealthy coastal settlements were lightly defended and filled with valuable treasures. Over the following decades, Viking fleets returned again and again. They raided England, Scotland, Ireland, and parts of France. Yet the Vikings were more than fearless raiders. After many of these expeditions, they stayed to trade with local people. Some settled permanently, married into local communities, and founded new towns. Their influence slowly spread across Europe. The raid on Lindisfarne became one of the most famous moments in medieval history. Today, historians often consider it the event that marked the true beginning of the Viking Age. The dragon ships had arrived, and Europe would never be the same again.
The year was 793 AD. On a small island off the northeast coast of England stood the peaceful monastery of Lindisfarne. It was one of the holiest places in Christian Europe. Monks spent their days praying, copying sacred books by hand, and living quiet, simple lives. Then, one morning, everything changed. As the sun rose over the sea, strange ships appeared on the horizon. Their long, narrow hulls sliced through the waves. At the front of each ship was a fearsome dragon head. The monks had never seen anything like them before. Within minutes, the ships reached the shore. Heavily armed Viking warriors leaped onto the beach, carrying axes, swords, spears, and round wooden shields. They moved with incredible speed. The monastery's doors were broken open. Valuable gold and silver treasures were seized. Food, supplies, and weapons were taken. Those who resisted were killed, while others were captured and taken away as prisoners. The attack shocked all of Europe. To many people, it seemed as though terrifying warriors had appeared from nowhere. As the years passed, the Vikings became known for far more than their raids. They were among the greatest explorers the medieval world had ever seen. Their remarkable longships carried them across dangerous seas to places no Europeans had ever reached before. Unlike many civilizations that feared the unknown, the Vikings welcomed it. Every new journey offered the chance to discover fertile land, valuable resources, and profitable trade routes. Around 874 AD, Viking settlers arrived in Iceland. Led by the Norwegian chieftain Ingolfur Arnarson, they established permanent farms and villages on the volcanic island.
Although Iceland's winters were harsh, the settlers adapted quickly. They raised sheep, cattle, and horses while preserving their stories in famous Viking sagas that are still read today. But the Viking spirit of exploration did not stop there. About a century later, a bold explorer named Erik the Red sailed even farther west. After being exiled from Iceland, he discovered a vast new land covered with mountains, glaciers, and deep fjords. To encourage others to join him, he named it Greenland, even though much of the island was covered in ice. The Vikings were not only fearless explorers, they were also some of the most respected warriors of the medieval world. Before every battle, Viking warriors prepared themselves with weapons they trusted more than their own lives. Most carried a sharp battle axe, a sturdy round wooden shield, a spear, and, for wealthy warriors, a finely crafted Viking sword. Contrary to popular myths, Vikings did not wear horned helmets in battle. Their helmets were simple, practical, and designed for protection. Their greatest strength was not their weapons. It was their courage. A Viking believed that dying bravely in battle was the highest honor a warrior could achieve. This belief came from their ancient religion, known today as Norse mythology. The Vikings worshipped powerful gods who they believed watched over every battle. The greatest of them was Odin, the All-Father. Odin was the god of wisdom, war, and poetry. Legend says he sacrificed one of his eyes in exchange for infinite knowledge. Another beloved god was Thor, the mighty god of thunder. Armed with his magical hammer, Mjolnir, Thor was believed to protect both the gods and mankind from giants and monsters. The Vikings were not only fearless explorers, they were also some of the most respected warriors of the medieval world. Before every battle, Viking warriors prepared themselves with weapons they trusted more than their own lives. Most carried a sharp battle axe, a sturdy round wooden shield, a spear, and, for wealthy warriors, a finely crafted Viking sword. Contrary to popular myths, Vikings did not wear horned helmets in battle. Their helmets were simple, practical, and designed for protection. Their greatest strength was not their weapons. It was their courage. A Viking believed that dying bravely in battle was the highest honor a warrior could achieve. This belief came from their ancient religion, known today as Norse mythology. The Vikings worshipped powerful gods who they believed watched over every battle. The greatest of them was Odin, the All-Father. Odin was the god of wisdom, war, and poetry. Legend says he sacrificed one of his eyes in exchange for infinite knowledge. Another beloved god was Thor, the mighty god of thunder. Armed with his magical hammer, Mjolnir, Thor was believed to protect both the gods and mankind from giants and monsters. Confident in victory, he landed in northern England with a powerful fleet. At first, his campaign was successful, but everything changed at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. The English army, led by King Harald Godwinson, launched a surprise attack. A fierce battle followed. Despite their bravery, the Viking army was defeated. Harald Hardrada was killed on the battlefield. Historians often regard this battle as the symbolic end of the Viking Age. Yet the Vikings did not disappear. Their descendants settled across Europe, influencing languages, laws, trade, shipbuilding, and exploration. In northern France, Viking settlers became known as the Normans. In 1066, the Norman leader William the Conqueror crossed the English Channel and conquered England, forever changing its history. Even today, the Viking legacy lives on. Archaeologists continue discovering Viking ships, weapons, jewelry, and ancient settlements. Their stories survive in the Icelandic sagas. Their symbols appear in books, films, and museums around the world. The Viking Age may have ended, but its spirit of courage, exploration, and adventure continues to inspire people across the globe. The dragon ships no longer sail the seas, yet the legend of the Vikings will never fade. As the Viking Age came to an end, the world entered a new chapter. The dragon-headed longships that once ruled the seas gradually disappeared from the coastlines of Europe. The famous Viking raids became history. But the Vikings themselves were never truly gone. Instead of conquering new lands with swords, their descendants became kings, merchants, explorers, craftsmen, and builders. Across Europe, Viking influence continued to grow. Many English words have Viking origins. Cities founded by Viking settlers developed into thriving centers of trade. Their advanced shipbuilding techniques influenced generations of sailors, making long-distance sea travel faster and safer. Even their legal traditions helped shape early forms of government in Scandinavia. Perhaps the Vikings' greatest achievement was not war, it was exploration. They sailed farther than almost any other people of their time. From the icy fjords of Norway to the volcanic landscapes of Iceland, from the frozen coast of Greenland to the distant shores of North America, the Vikings proved that courage and curiosity could carry humanity beyond the edge of the known world. Today, archaeologists continue to uncover Viking ships buried beneath the earth. Ancient swords, helmets, jewelry, and settlements reveal new secrets every year. Each discovery helps us understand who the Vikings really were. Not simply ruthless raiders, but skilled navigators, master shipbuilders, fearless explorers, talented craftsmen, and remarkable storytellers. Their legendary sagas, passed down for centuries, still inspire books, films, television series, and documentaries around the world. The names of Odin, Thor, Leif Erikson, Erik the Red, and Harald Hardrada remain famous more than 1,000 years later. The Viking Age lasted for nearly 3 centuries, yet its impact can still be seen today. In the languages we speak, in the cities they founded, in the trade routes they opened, and in the spirit of adventure they left behind. History remembers many civilizations for their wealth, others for their empires, but the Vikings are remembered for something even greater: their fearless determination to explore the unknown. Whenever a ship sails into an unexplored sea, whenever someone chooses courage over fear, the spirit of the Vikings lives on. Their longships may have disappeared beneath the waves, but their legend will never sink. This is the unforgettable story of the Viking Age.